Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live streaming of Get Online Week this year from Living Connected. We're going to have a discussion today on how to find things on your Mac, and we urge you to put questions into the comments section of YouTube if you want us to discuss anything particular. Takes a little bit of time. Okay, so welcome everyone to another one of our online events at Living Connected for Get Online Week in 2021. The topic of this one is all about finding stuff on a Mac, computer. And with me is Shibin, one of our talented team members, and he's going to be the person who's going to get all the questions fired at him by me, the interviewer. Okay, so Shibin, just start off with asking you, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you've come from and why you're here in Wollongong.
Yeah, thank you, Helen. Hi, everyone. My name is Shibin and I'm from India. And I'm doing my master's in engineering management at the University of Wollongong.
Okay, now here's the more pertinent question. Why do you use a Mac and what do you use it for particularly?
So I do a lot of content creating like video and audio editing. And I always feel that Macs are more easier to use compared to Windows. Also, I do a lot of report writing. So when I like to have all my documents and the information that I've gathered available to me easily, so I have multiple tabs open. So that way I feel that the Mac does not hang as much as the Windows. So that's why the main reason I use a Mac.
Okay, so I'm a Windows person and very rarely use a Mac, but I just did a little bit of looking around on a Mac, and I found that there's a thing called the Spotlight, a thing called a Finder, and a Dock. Can you just briefly show us those and explain what they are? So if you can.
Yeah, sure. I'll just share my screen. Okay. So awesome. Can you see my screen?
I can see that now. That's good.
Sure. All right. So the Spotlight is similar to the search button on the Windows, and it's located on the top right corner of your Mac. So you click on that button over here. So you get the Spotlight search. So I have a document I downloaded today, so Living Connected. So yeah, when I search on that, I can get the document. So I click on that. Yeah, there you go. We have the document here. So, and the Finder is basically on the bottom corner of your Windows. So on your desktop. So this is the first one. So it's usually the first icon on your dock. And that when you click on that, so you get all your documents and everything from there. And the dock is basically where all the applications that you commonly use, they can be found on your dock, which is at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about how you find different documents, files, different photos, whatever, using both the Spotlight and the Finder, and which you use when and why?
So yeah, so if you know the name of the document and you don't know where you have saved it, so you basically use the Spotlight. So you can search for the document, say Living Connected. So I have the document that I've found over here already. So you can see the document through here. Another way of finding a document is using the Finder. So you click on Finder, and since this document I just downloaded, it's usually on your download tab, which is on the left side of your Finder. Click on download and search for the document. So there you go. I have my file over here. Yep.
Yeah, so that's very much like the File Explorer on Windows.
Exactly. Yeah.
So then it pops up. In what sort of what application does it choose? Are there default applications there for for the document when you open it?
Yeah, these are default applications. So
Or the ones down the bottom in the dock? Would they use it?
yeah, these are the bottoms
Yeah.
doc, so you usually be able to find it.
So when you opened that, what did you open it in?
So
what's
yeah,
the application?
so on the Finder, if you want to open a document, so you click on downloads or where you save the documents, click on that. So you click on the contract or click on the file you want to actually open, and it should be able to open the document.
So you're using a mouse to do that?
Yeah, I'm using a mouse to do that now.
What about other ways of, you told me earlier that the touchpad on a Mac is often more easier to use than using a mouse.
Yeah, the touchpad has a lot of gesture control. So when I open the picture over here, so I usually use both two fingers to scroll up and down a document, and I can use the finger to actually zoom in also. So if I pinch the image on the trackpad, it basically zooms in and zooms out from the document, the image.
Yes, so there are a lot of gestures that somebody.
Yeah, there are a lot of gestures that can be done on the trackpad.
Okay, so the next thing I was going to ask, if the dock has a whole lot of applications here, apps. What if you want to open an app that you think's on your machine, but it's not in the dock?
Yeah, so you basically open your Launchpad. So that's the second icon, usually by default, the second icon on the dock. So you can see all the application that's available on your Mac through the dock over here.
Yeah.
Another way of opening the application on your Mac is to open Finder, and on the on the left side, you click on application, and you can see all the application that is actually there on your Mac through the application folder over here.
Okay, so you open those, you told me, by double click on the touchpad, is that right?
Yeah, double click on the touchpad to
Just with
open.
a finger. Yeah. Okay, so that's taught me a few things, so that's really good. Okay, so also there's a little Apple icon up in the top left. I always wonder what that's for.
So the top left icon is basically to open your system preferences. That's basically your computer settings, or to basically shut down or restart your Mac. So you click on that, you click on shutdown or restart, you basically restart or shut down your Mac using that as well.
Yeah, so a little bit like the Windows.
Yeah, the start and stop button on the
yeah.
Windows. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so if you had a beginner, just like one of our clients, you're quite familiar with what they're like, and they've just got a Mac. Is there anything else that you would tell them about to get them going and make them feel comfortable using a Mac?
There are small differences when using a Mac compared to using a Windows. Like use two fingers to scroll through and zoom and pinch. There are a lot of gestures using the trackpad. Another thing would be if you're using a document, like if you're copying or pasting a document, instead of using Control-C and Control-V on your keyboard, use a command button over here. So you use command instead of control on the keyboard to copy and paste the document. So similar to that, there are a lot of shortcuts. So instead of control, you basically use the command button more frequently.
I'll just ask you another quick question that popped into my mind. Do you use the anything equivalent to the right click on the mouse for the way you would on a Windows machine, or is it a bit different?
So when you click on the basically when you click on the document, you get all the
so that's
menu,
a right click on your mouse, is it?
Yeah, you can right click on the mouse, or you can double tap, click on the document and double tap on this thing. It usually opens up.
Yeah.
So, and this is basically all the menu that you can get from the document as well. So
Okay, so I also ask you about browsers. I know a lot of Mac users that I know use Safari rather than Chrome, but I see you've got probably both here. So which do you usually use, and are they both okay to use on a Mac?
They are both fine to use on a Mac, but I tend to prefer Chrome because I am using different devices. So I can have a history of what I've done of my search tab. So if I want to open something on a different device, it easily syncs between the different device. But if you have an Apple ecosystem with you, like an iPhone and iPad, I would say you can use the Safari because it automatically syncs between the devices. For me, I'm using Chrome because I have an Android phone with me.
Okay, so that was the other question that we were going to ask. Is it, if you're going to use a Mac, is it any easier if you've got Apple, a phone or tablet, or as you seem to have an Android, is it quite easy to switch from using Android for your touch phone and so on, and the Mac?
No, not exactly. See, but there are definitely benefits of you having an Apple ecosystem. It's like, see, if I have a document on the Mac that is open, so say I have this documents over here that I was editing on my phone, so on my iPad, so I can easily open that without actually sharing the document on the Mac. Whereas if I have an Android device or something, it becomes a bit more easier. I have to actually share the file. Whereas over here, it gets synced automatically through Apple devices. So if you have an Apple device, it's easier to do editing or see something on different devices. But I don't find that much difficult to share a document using Mac. So it should be easy.
I've got another little question too that I didn't tell you about. And I was just wondering if you need to have an Apple ID if you're using a Mac. Is that useful?
Yes, you need to have an Apple ID when using Apple devices.
And so we need to talk to our clients to make sure if they have an Apple ID, they know the password, because a lot of people forget their Apple ID password. So is that critical to a Mac, or is it just something that is, where would an Apple ID be used on a Mac?
So you would use a Apple ID to basically set up the Mac. So when you're setting up the Mac, you would actually need an Apple ID to set up your account, your iCloud and all those. So most of the data or documents stored on your computer are backed up to your iCloud. So for setting up your iCloud account and all, you would actually need the Apple ID.
Okay, so is that normal that people would have an Apple ID and use the iCloud to sync with the iCloud, so they back up their documents and
yeah,
on the phone?
Yeah, you can use an Apple ID. So most of the documents that you actually do on your Macs are automatically synced unless you disable that function on your Mac. So most of the documents can be, since you can access to different devices, it is easily if you can sync through your iCloud.
Okay, so that's where Apple users would be familiar with those terms. Okay, so anything else that you think our clients would be asking about Macs, particularly if they're beginners, or is that basically enough for one session on the Mac?
I think that should be enough for one session on the Mac.
Yes, we usually find that all those terms often people's heads are spinning a little bit once when we go over it. But they can rewatch this video if they wanted to clarify anything. So thanks very much, Shibin. It's been great talking to you, and thank you very much for all the help that you've given our clients this year when we're working for Living Connected.
Thank you, Helen. Happy to help.
So now we will allow people to look at the questions that you put into the YouTube comments, and we might answer some of those.
Shibin, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Helen. Yep.
Okay, so we've had 4 or 5 people who are watching us, but nobody's put in any questions yet, so there's still time to do that. I've got a question that I thought of to get started with. Is there anything you don't like about a Mac? Is there anything that annoys you that could be better or fixed up that is, you know, something that people sort of don't like about Macs?
Oh, that's a tough question. No, it's basically my personal preference. So I usually like the way this system is set up. So I kind of am more biased to having a Mac. That is actually, I'm actually biased to Mac. But it's more of a personal preference. So some people might not like some of the way it's set up. So most of the beginners I ask, they tell it it's a bit too complicated. They have complicated it a lot, but I feel it's very simple if you know the basics of using a Mac.
How long does it take someone to sort of get really comfortable with using all the gestures and things on a Mac? So one of our clients, for example, somebody who hasn't used computers very much.
Probably a month. You could actually get very familiar with a Mac if you're using a Mac regularly. So it probably would take a month, but you can get used to it very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so do you ever have arguments with non-Mac users about the merits of a Mac versus a Windows computer?
No, not exactly, because I personally use both Windows and Mac all the time. So for work, I use Windows, and for other studies and all, I use Mac. So I'm familiar with both the systems, so that helps me out.
We just have a question now. Someone's asking what are the limits of using the Mac? What can't you do on a Mac, I guess, is the question.
What can't you do? Okay. You can't install any applications like that. It all has to be a licensed application. So basically you can't have any pirated applications or anything like that. It all the applications installed has to be licensed by Apple, and Apple has to verify that there's an official license for the application you install.
So if you wanted to, and I'm not encouraging anybody to do this, but if somebody wanted to install something that wasn't quite kosher, then would you be able to do it on a Windows machine more easily than a Mac?
Yeah, Windows would be more easier to do that than Mac.
Not saying you've had any
No.
experience in this area at all. Yes, it's there's a lot of free. What about free things like I use LibreOffice on my Windows machine, so it's a free application. Would it be licensed?
Yeah. So yeah, Libra is actually an open source application. So it's actually, you can actually run that on a Mac. So as long as the application is licensed by the company, it can actually run. If it's free or not, it can actually run on the Mac, as long as the application is a licensed product.
Mm-hmm. And do they run okay? Do you ever have trouble with certain applications running on the Mac that are not really designed for a Mac?
I haven't faced much difficulties till now, but I think the new architecture of Mac, the new MacBooks, they are still developing applications to be compatible with both your iPad as well. So you can actually run iPad applications on your Mac as well. Because of that, they're still making the apps more compatible with your Mac. So they're still developing apps regularly. So.
And I think I've asked you this before. There's no sort of touchscreen version of a Mac, is there?
No, at the moment there's no touchscreen version of Mac.
Okay, I've got another question here. I've got one of so is the storage space more on a Mac or a PC, and why do you need to use the cloud? 2 questions.
Okay, so storage, basically, the Mac's default storage is about 125 GB, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So that's 125, 258. I'm not exactly sure. So that's basically how much you get when you buy your Mac. That's your base. You can always pay more money and increase your storage. Whereas on a or if it was on a PC, you can actually change your hard disk later on. So on a Mac, you have to actually pay for the configuration at the beginning itself. Whereas if it's a PC, desktop PC, then you can actually change the hard disk or your space that's actually there.
Okay, I'm getting a couple of questions here. Do you think Apple devices in general have better security than Windows? Is that fair to say?
I think it's fair to say, but yeah, but Windows is also developing regularly, so they also provide patches every now and then. But I think, yeah, comparatively, Apple devices are a bit more secure than the Windows.
And what about cost is the other question. Are Macs in general more costly than a PC for the same sort of performance, do you think?
That's
I stumped you, have I? I found a question.
No, it's hard to say because Windows PCs also, they provide almost in similar range, but you get I think a Mac PC starts about $1,000, give or take. I'm not 100% sure. So, and they go up. Even say a Windows PC can also start about the same range. So I think it's pretty much similar cost.
So someone here is comparing the cost of an iPhone to an Android. Are iPhones generally seen as more expensive than
iPhone is comparatively expensive, than an Android phone. Yep.
So but they're still very popular. They're still selling well. Are they still every year or two producing a new model that people line up to buy? Yeah.
Every year. I mean, they released the new iPhone last month. So every year they're making new iPhones. So it's developing it.
Is there any practical reason for that, or is it just a fashion thing, or a wanting to have the latest version? Is each version better?
But yeah, each version is definitely better of an iPhone is definitely better than the previous version. But if you're using the basic functions such as your processor or your mobile phone call or messaging, I don't see any major difference. But yeah, definitely there's also a fashion and design changes also every year.
And do you think that'll keep going? Can people still afford that, or is it going to run out?
iPhones have become more affordable recently compared to before. So definitely it's becoming more affordable day by day.
The thing that people are like the iPhones, I've heard, because the cameras are usually very good on the iPhone. Are they better on an iPhone than your average Android?
They're better than an average Android, but yeah, see, Samsung, for example, also has Android phones that have pretty good cameras. So you can't basically compare. They both have pretty good processors and cameras as well. So it's all about the cost and personal preferences. So if you like Android, you use Android. If you like an iOS device, you basically use an iPhone. So it's more about the personal preferences rather than.
Yeah. Okay, so you're still happy with your Mac. We're just about coming to the end of our session, I think. Thank you very much to the people who've been asking questions. We've got quite a lot of questions here about comparing Windows and Mac, so that's a very hot topic. We're going to have, I think there's going to be a session on finding a way around a PC, so I wonder whether that will come up with some comparisons and some positive statements about Windows machines as well. Anyway, so thank you very much, Shibin, and thanks to our people who've been watching. We hope you'll come back and watch some of the other sessions soon.
Sure.
So thank you.
Thank you.